it. I try so hard. I work so hard sometimes to really be on time. What's amazing is that somehow I still lost track of time getting ready. Katie! Hello, my beautiful muse. How are you doing? I think I just saw your notification come up on the group page, because yes, we have a group called Goddess Muse Vibes. It is one of my favorite places to be on the internet. And so I shared with everyone that we are going live to talk about Long Story Short some more, because we haven't talked about it here in the Facebook world all that much. Obviously, you've gotten the post. Obviously, you've gotten the gist. But let us go live and talk. We know time is a suggestion. The savagery. But you're kind of right, though. See, the thing is, I try. I really do. I work hard. And what's funny is I don't usually have this much problem inside the programs. Like, I'm pretty good about getting here on time. But I don't know what happens when I say I'm going to go live on the socials. Something comes over me. Hello, gorgeous. Hello, beautiful. So, we're talking Long Story Short. Let me take a sip of water. I'm like the loudest drinker under the planet. We are talking Long Story Short, and I'm really, really excited to talk to you about it some more, because you've seen me present the branding here on Facebook. If you follow me over on Instagram, you probably see my face there talking about Long Story Short. There's also, yes, it is. It's so good. Thanks. I love it. I love the jewelry. This is Luna Lifted. This is all Luna Lifted, because I know you always ask me about the jewels. The jewels are from Luna Lifted, and I love it. It's a whole vibe. They have Sailor Moon on the front page. I mean, you can't get any more vibey than that. Me and Brie die. So, long story short. Oh, yes. What are the odds? Let's get some Whitney in here. Why not? Higher love. So, long story short, what's the deal? What's the vibes? You've probably seen it. You've seen my face. You've seen me talk about it. What's the deal with this program? It's a coaching program. It is not a course. That's the first thing I should tell you about it. Now, it was inspired by a course, which Katie is an alum of, and she's coming back for the program, which is amazing. Courses typically show up on a website, or you could either do it one of two ways. I mean, you could do it a bunch of different ways, but these are the ways that I know of and that I've done it. So you could either do it in a live capacity, which I've done, where I actually have a live course group and I run the course live, and then it's there for you forever and ever, and that's just where it is and where it lives, because it's easy and it's fun and it's simple. Now, with a program, it is a living, breathing, pulsing container where I'm actually in it with you. So every single day, I don't know why I did the doggy paddle, but maybe that's the thing. It's like going step by step, take one step at a time. Maybe that's the song I should be playing. But in all seriousness, program vibes, I'm creating a container that is living, breathing, pulsing. I'm in there every single day with you. I'm designing it in such a way where you have the opportunity to have a breakthrough with me every single day. So the way this particular program is going to be run is there will be a module that drops every single day. You'll have one day off in the midst of each week that this is going on. I foresee this program going on for a month. Have I finished outlining it? No. And that's a good thing, because I'm just going to keep adding more and more beautiful things inside of this container. So I'm really, really excited about it. But every single day, there's going to be something. There are going to be live pieces, live modules, where I walk you through the motions of write, publish, and sell in a specific, really powerful way, a context that I set really strongly beforehand. And then in between those pieces, those live pieces, we have recorded pieces, audio pieces, where I'm going to dig deep on a particular topic, something that I want to have a one-sided conversation around, just so that you have a way and a space to kind of sit back with it and to breathe through it and take notes at your leisure if you want to, especially if there's new information in there. Whereas the lives is really where we're going to get to like the transformation integration side of things, where I'm really going to walk you through how this all works in practice, what thoughts, feelings come up, because what I believe about success is that energy plus inspired action creates your success. And so what does that mean? So energy for me means the thoughts that you think and the feelings that you feel. So if you feel good about things and you think good thoughts about the things that you're doing, and you take action from that good place of feeling good, you create success. You manifest what you want. You get a positive result, which is all the same thing. And so what I desire by creating a program and creating anything I do really is I'd like to see you have a positive result. Now, what does the positive result look like? I'm not going to say. I don't need to say. It's not for me to say. You've got to decide going in what you want out of this program. You've got to decide what the vibe is for you. You've got to decide to claim the miracle of saying yes to the thing, saying yes to yourself, trusting yourself, doing what it is you most want to do. This isn't a program for people who are looking for a sort of step-by-step how to publish, right? This isn't like your typical blueprint. This isn't something that you can get off Google, and it's definitely not like those informational courses that really walk you through the information side. That said, it's still a beautiful place to start if you're someone who's just starting on your journey, because if you build a foundation around the energetics, if you build a foundation around your self-worth versus someone else's strategy that tells you if you do this enough times, you will get the result you want, versus just believing you were always worthy of the result in the first place, feeling good about it, taking action based on that, and then moving forward, success in that way is sustainable. It's easier to maintain. It feels good. It's exciting. It's enjoyable. And I'm all about having an enjoyable time doing this. I don't got time. I don't got time. I do not have the time to sit there wondering, floundering in self-doubt, wondering if I'm doing things right, wondering if I'm enough, wondering if this person is better than me, wondering if I should worry about the competition, wondering if I should try this new strategy that everyone says works, wondering if I should be taking better care of myself, wondering if I do something differently, it'll all work for me. Rather than just believing I was always enough in the first place, I was always worth it, and then working from there, working up from there, building from there, doing things from there that feel good, that feel aligned, that feel like the thing, like feel like the vibe. That's what's most important to me. And that's honestly how I function day to day, how I operate in my own creative business where I sell books and I am also a coach. So this is kind of like the perfect marriage between those two things of having the books out, knowing what I know about publishing because I own my own publishing company as well. I own a short fiction publishing company. Preach not for the info overload with no action. Yes. This is why, free resources are great. When you find the YouTube videos that tell you something or teach you something that you never learned before, that have shown you a different way that you maybe have never been introduced to before, those things are helpful. Everything has its place in the ecosystem of everything, right? All marketing, all the online space, everything has its place. There's nothing that's wrong. But what I dislike and what I don't vibe with and what I do not include in my experiences is this idea that you must follow my way based on the information I've gathered, the evidence I've gathered on how it works for me. If I based all of my teachings, if I based my guidance solely on that, you would not have a result that feels like you did it. You wouldn't feel like you could have the confidence to produce the result again. Because what this comes down to is you've got to believe that you can do it again, that you can replicate it. Not that it'll just happen for you the one time, that you'll just publish the book the one time, that you'll publish, that you'll finish it, that you'll sell it the one time. You've got to believe you can do it again and again. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? Why invest in a program in the first place if you don't want to make a career out of it? I have this as selling books, creating books, publishing books, telling stories is one revenue stream for me, but it's a powerful one and one I enjoy. And I really love it. And I'm not a writer who claims to have been born a writer. What I am is a storyteller, and I basically make money telling stories in all different mediums. Whatever medium appeals to me. So I'm not a born writer, I just enjoy writing. And I love it ever so much. I'm writing a book right now. And what that perspective allows me to say about how the publishing industry works and how I see writers fall into this kind of starving artist paradigm and how that holds them back, what that allows me to see, what perspective that gives me, it allows me to see that there's very little responsibility that a writer or a creator or creative claims on the transformations they could potentially create for their audience. When we give our power completely to this outside party, whether it's a publisher or someone that we're working with in the indie space, it doesn't really matter. Whether it's a reader, because we always think that the readers make or break. No one can make or break your success. No one can make or break your career. Your career is based on decision after decision. Your storytelling is based on decision after decision. What I'm most interested in is looking at the fear, shame, and doubt, the guilt that comes up when you try to make a decision for yourself. Because the less decisions you can make from a place of personal power, the less likely you are to be able to finish the thing that you said you were going to finish. And when you don't finish the thing that you said you were going to finish, what happens is you lose trust in yourself. And when you lose trust in yourself, you go back on your word over and over again, and you stop believing in yourself. Belief and trust, self-belief, goes hand in hand with trust every single time. But what happens is we've gotten so used to not following through. We've gotten so used to breaking our promises, changing plans without any explanation, or delving deep and figuring out if fear is the reason that we're trying to pull back all of a sudden. Like, go ahead, change the plans, do things differently, but stick to something. Mean it when you say you're going to change the plan to something else. When you say you're going to finish the book, finish the book. And if you can't, that's what I want to explore in the program. If you find yourself going, I can't, or this is too hard, or this feels like a slug, or I don't know how to balance my life, or things get really intense for me and I feel overwhelmed all the time and I feel like I have no direction and I want to do this and I want to do that, but what's the first step? What's the second step? What's the third step? I still don't feel like I have enough information to keep going. I still don't feel like I know where I'm going. I still don't feel like I'm in control. I still don't feel like I have power in this situation. That is what I'm most interested in, and that is what I reframe again and again for clients in this program, in similar programs I've done, courses I've done, bundles I've created, and then of course my private clients and my private practice. I've worked with them again and again, going in, rewiring, reframing. Katie is like living proof of this. She's shifting in incredible ways all the time because she's taken previous things with me before. I have a way of looking at things that is different from how other people look at things, and I love that. I love that because what that means is you are not going to get the same sort of information again and again. You're not going to get a repeat, a regurgitation, something that makes you feel disempowered. That is what I especially dislike. When we feel disempowered, we do not take action. That's just the truth. So the stuff that I create, right? The content that I create, the experiences I facilitate, the transformations I facilitate and the experiences that I lead are designed to empower you over and above, always and forever. So if you can feel empowered in my world, if you can start to feel like, okay, this decision isn't that scary to make. Hi, Jessica, how are you doing? How are you feeling? You are not late, because if that were true, that would mean I'd have to acknowledge that I'm late. And I started at 5. I wanted to start at 4:44, but here we are. So sometimes the plans change and you roll with the punches. But the point is, and driving it back to what I've been saying, Jessica, perfect timing because you are a great example. You do what you say you're going to do. So if you said to yourself today that I'm going to come in on Amara's live and watch her talk about Long Story Short and get all the vibes and get excited and tell people about the program and why they need to join the program, you did it, regardless of the fact that you were what? We're 10 minutes in, 12 minutes in, 13 minutes in, and the same for me. I said I wanted to be here at 4:44. Sometimes things happen, but I committed to it. I showed up, even if it was going to be 15 minutes later. And that's the way I give myself grace in my life, in my creativity, in the way that I produce work. If something doesn't work exactly the way that I wanted, if something doesn't work exactly the way that I had hoped or pictured, I give myself room to figure out first if there's something in me that's not up to par, not up to the challenge, I'm not examining, I'm not observing, I'm avoiding in some way, or there was a life situation that happened and I'm okay with that and I'm capable of changing the plans. I still have power in the situation. What's going to be my next move though? That's what I often ask myself. Okay, so this happened and what? Like, what happens next? If you can keep asking those questions instead of staying stuck and paralyzed in your own fear, then we can talk about how we can move forward. But what happens so often with writers and with creatives, what happens so often is they get stuck and then they don't question why they're stuck. And very often the reasons why writers especially get stuck: perfectionism, worry, money, fear, not enoughness, so self-worth. I mean, all kinds of insecurities, all kinds of fears, because what happens is, here's the funny thing about writing and creativity. Can I just say this? The funny thing about writing and creativity is it's an outlet, it's a channel, and we're going to be talking about channeling and intimacy and storytelling a lot in the program as well. It's a channel for your emotions. It's a channel for the way that you view life, or perspectives you might carry, or questions you might not have answered for yourself. And that's a great thing, because when you can funnel that into a story and explore that with characters and do it in a way that's actually safe and exciting and fun, and you come to a new revelation on the other side, you create a transformation within yourself, you're that much more likely to create a transformation in a reader who picks up the book. So this is a beautiful thing. But where it gets in our way, where we have the problem, the flip side of that is we forget that if we can't come to the page, if we can't channel in a way that feels good, if it feels like we're bleeding on the page and it's a little too raw, if it feels like we're scared to go to the page, or getting to the page is a slug, it's a trying thing, when that happens, it's because we're channeling us, our essence, who we are. And sometimes who we are and our essence gets clouded or polluted by the ways we show up in other areas of our life. The ways in which we ignore or avoid the hard things in other areas of our life. When you're not clear on your emotional intelligence, when you don't have a strong mindset, you can't take inspired action. You can't take action from a good place. And so if you want to write, if you want to hit that word count, if you actually want to get the book done and publish the book and then eventually sell the book, are you clear on each of these areas? Because it's going to require you to be. It's going to require you to be your very best self. And your very best self doesn't necessarily mean that you're perfect and you're completely squeaky clean all the time and everything's always working perfectly. That's also not the vibe, because we're still human. We're not robots. But what makes you someone who's extraordinary, what makes you someone who can do those things despite maybe not always feeling your best, maybe despite not feeling like you're in the mood necessarily, is the ability, the capability, the wherewithal to be able to look at yourself and go, oh, okay, here's what's going on. Here's where there's an issue. Here's where I have to dig in. Here's where I might need support, guidance, assistance, which is why you enroll in a program like Long Story Short, which is why you can privately coach with me. Because we don't need to go through life and go through the struggles and figure shit out all on our own. We can, you don't need me, but if you desire to walk with someone through the struggles, figure out who you can be on the other side of it that doesn't actually look like you at rock bottom, that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice everything and be at your worst in order to have the best, you sign up for a program like this. You sign up for coaching, you do the thing. That's what I do. I pay a ton of money to be coached every month, and it's the most exciting, wonderful thing, because I feel seen, supported, appreciated for who I am and where I might fail or flounder or falter. And we rework and we rework and we shift, and I learn and I grow and I integrate. And so I'm always transforming and integrating, and I become a better human and a more sustainable creator and a more loving, altogether powerful force in the world without actually applying force, without feeling like things are hard. How is that not the vibe? Like, how do we not want that for our lives? For anyone thinking about any of Amara Luciano, if you're here, by the way, I see another person dropped in, say hello. For anyone thinking about any of Amara Luciano's courses or programs, here is how she is different. Oh my God, I'm ready, Katie. I'm so happy you're in the next round. I can't. She looks at, and Jessica's already in Long Story Short. She was on it. She was on it during pre-sale, when the pre-sale was actually at its lowest, because I increased the pre-sale when I figured out what I wanted to do with this program and how big it was going to be. Jessica was already in it. She was ready. She's like, I'm in it, I'm not waiting, I'm here. She looks at the individual. She looks at you, what your struggle is, what you want to accomplish. She will never give you a cookie cutter approach, and that's why she won't promise you a specific result that everyone will walk away with. She'll promise you your results that only you can obtain. You worded that so beautifully, Katie. Can I just thank you for your presence, because that is such a succinct way of saying it. Because what I'm interested in is what you most want. I'm not interested in telling you you could have this many publications under your belt in this exact way, because maybe the way that I publish, or the things that I publish, or how I publish, or how many times I publish isn't appealing to you. Maybe it is you just want to publish the one time. Maybe it is you just want to publish, I don't know, a short story, a graphic novel. I don't actually care what you want to publish. That's not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is the kind of person you are going to be when you do the thing. And if that can't be clean and clear, if we can't get that to be effortless, then it's always going to be a struggle to go forward and publish the thing, to write the next thing, to sell the next thing. Because selling also requires you to be clean and clear. Selling also requires emotional intelligence and a strong mindset. Because if you go in with desperate energy, if you go in wondering how, I think my uncle was on here. Hello, Theo. If you go in wondering how the whole time, the other person feels it on the other end. The other person feels it on the other end. And when they can feel your desperation, when they can feel your lack, when they can feel your scarcity, what happens is they don't buy. They don't buy. And it's like I was saying yesterday on the Instagram Live when I was talking about what this program was all about. On the Instagram Live, I was talking about how maybe it's not the vibe to go buy my book all day long, or to refresh the KDP dashboard, or to get really upset and worried about what readers are thinking about your work. Maybe it was never the vibe to hunt down critique partners and beta readers that don't actually make you feel like you come alive. Maybe it's not the vibe to wonder or look at your word count and say, I'm going to write all the words, and then all of a sudden you just don't do it. Like you start out at the beginning of the day going, I'm going to write all the words, and then the day happens, the day goes by, and then it gets to the end of the night, and you're like, I'm not going to do it actually. Actually, no, it doesn't feel amazing to write these words right now because I don't feel like I'm, capable. That's what it comes down to. No matter what excuse you put on top of it, it's because you feel like you're not capable. Yes, always here. I feel like I need to go add comments to my testimonial. They need a gem like this. Yes, you could. Go add comments, Katie. Let me see what Jessica's saying. I'm glad that this is the approach. I have over a dozen craft books and own several courses that give me the know-hows of different aspects of creative writing and authorship. What I need is to figure out how this all applies to me as the individual, figure out where I struggle and why, and find ways to overcome it. And I know that you and I met through a different course group, a publishing course group. And here's what's so powerful about informational courses is that you can use them as a kind of index or a guide when you're trying something new, a specific way of doing things, and you're trying to figure out how it works. So when you want to know how the how works, informational courses are really genius, which is why I was in that course, because I wanted to know certain specifics of how certain things were done. But what the issue ends up becoming is when we let the how of the thing become how we must do the thing, when we let the how of the thing get in the way of why we're doing the thing, when we let the how of the thing get in the way of who we are when we're doing the thing, that's when we have an issue. That's when it gets especially hard. That's when we start to get in our own way and we lose momentum. So I see what you're saying and I feel you on this, and this is why the program is designed to be what it is. This is why the program is what it is. This is why it's the cost that it is. This is why, this is the why of everything right here, what you're talking about, because I see this again and again with so many writers is I'm going to look at all the craft books and I'm going to get technically perfect on how I write the books, and then that'll be enough, and then I'll publish and everything will go well. But here's what I love about the people in my world. So my best friend, for example, she's a traditionally published author. Her book is actually coming out in September. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is the vibe. And she tells me all the time, she's like, you'd be perfect for traditional publishing because you don't fall into X trap. And those traps that we typically talk about all the time is that lack of a strong mindset and the lack of the emotional intelligence. Because when you don't have clarity, when you don't know exactly who you are, what it is you want to produce, why you're doing the thing, you get overrun and derailed by the people in the industry who want to make a quick buck off of you, or who want to just do things the easy way, or just want to do things in a way that seems like the way it'll sell, but not the way that actually feels good to you. Versus if you come into this game with a strong, powerful mindset and clear emotional intelligence, and then you do the actions, then you say the things, then you have the conversations, then you reach out to the right context, then you make the right connections with the right editor, with the right artist, with the right whoever. When all of that is clear and you take action from that place, what happens is your storytelling through the roof. The way that you approach publishing and the industry and who gets their hands on your book through the roof. When you approach selling, nobody can resist you because you're so goddamn magnetic. Because you're not in your own head. You're not letting your ego get in the way. You're not letting your inner child come out to play. This is about deciding, who are you? Who do you want to be? Who do you most want to be more than anything in the world? Who do you want to be as an author? When you think about that identity, what do you want it to be? I actually stumbled upon a website by another author tuber today, and she had LSS in her list of recommended courses and programs along with Publish and Thrive. Did she really? Was it Brittany Wang? I wonder? Because Brittany's actually an alum of LSS too. She's in the original course, so I don't know if it's Brittany Wang, but Brittany's another one that's in there. Were those by Sarah Cannon? I've heard great things from her as well. Yes, so the course that Jessica and I met was actually published in Thrive by Sarah Cannon. So that's what she's mentioning. And that's the thing. Like, I think published in Thrive is a great, almost like text sort of thing. It's like a textbook, or I almost look at it as like an industry manual. It's like an industry manual sort of thing, like for the indie side of things. That's how I look at it. And I think there's a really powerful place for that. But do I think that it should stop there? The path of evolution and growth should stop there? No. I think you got to know what you're doing with certain courses when you enroll in things. And this is why I love doing lives like this, talking about what is included in the program, so you get the sense of what you are going to get out of it before you decide to invest in yourself. But again, this all goes back to, as well, deciding what the result is going to be so you can make the miracle happen when you hit pay, when you make the purchase. Because otherwise, without your intention, without your decision, without a desire, it's just going to be like every other thing. You're going to set out with the best intentions, but you're not going to have that clarity, that vision that tells you, okay, we said at the beginning of this, the reason that we invested was this. We said at the beginning of this, the thing we wanted to get out of it was this. And so all I've got to do is trust that I'm making the right decision, that I'm moving in the right path, and that I'm aligned to the perfect person to lead me through, guide me through, coach me through. And when that's the case, you automatically get what you want. Like, that just ends up being the natural result. Yes! Amazing! Yes, so Brittany is an LSS alum. She was in the original course group. How funny. I didn't even know that she listed it as a resource. That's so cool. She loved the course. So, that being said, let us talk about, because I know both of you are already in the program, but somebody who's watching this later, and if you would be ever so kind to share this video on your pages, on your personal pages, that would be amazing. I don't know why my brain blanked there. I would love you forever for that. So, let's talk about the investment, shall we? So, if you're part of the original course group, which anybody who's watching this, I mean, Katie, you already know the drill, but there is a video inside the original course group that talks about how you can upgrade to the program version, and I've made some really amazing opportunities for you there. And then the investment for everyone else who's coming into this program, brand new, pre-sale right now literally ends tonight. So it ends at 12 a.m. midnight Eastern Standard Time, meaning Saturday. So 12 a.m. midnight Eastern Standard Time, wrapped. Pre-sale is wrapped. It's $333 at pre-sale price right now. So once we wrap that, we move into full price. And full price is $555 in full, or it's $666 in installments of 2 or 3 months. And in that time, you will be getting practically a whole month with me. As I said at the beginning of the live, I've already outlined 15 modules. Now, before you get really crazy and in your head and like, oh my God, that's too much. Again, as I mentioned in the live, Jessica, you're just walking in, so I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. There are going to be some live video pieces that run 60 to 90 minutes. So far, there are 4 or 5 throughout. There might be a couple more, and then there's a Q&A call, a celebration call. But there's also audio pieces in the midst of this, which range from 10 to 30 minutes. And the idea is not to overwhelm you, not to get you in your head, but actually to help you and give you an opportunity to have a breakthrough every single day. So that you don't kick back in the program thinking, oh, I only have to show up when there are live videos. I want you to get into the vibe and have these conversations and really mull and marinate on the things that I'm going to talk about, because there's so many different concepts I really want to dig into, especially because the original course group inspired a whole dialogue for so many different things that I really want to go in and talk about my brand new perspectives, the evolution I've had. And the powerful thing about this program as well, the timing of it, and the reason why I don't think it's going to happen again, at least for the rest of this year. Next year we'll definitely have another round, but I don't think it's going to happen again for the rest of this year, because when we're doing it, when it's being created, I've already set the context for this month. If you take Effortless Follow Through with me, which is my amazing masterclass, it's like baseline, the thing I recommend to everybody, and it's also the lowest cost offer that I have. In that masterclass, I talk a lot about context and who you want to be and how you want to show up and what you want to decide month to month, day to day, who you want to show up as. This month, the context for me is to finish what I start. And so when I say I'm going to do something, this is why it's called Effortless Follow Through, by the way, the masterclass. When I say I'm going to do something, I follow through because I trust myself very deeply. I've created enough evidence in my life to support me trusting myself deeply. So when I say I'm going to finish what I start, I am. This whole month, it's like me wrapping up books that I've left open for a while, like reading things I've been reading, making sure things are clean, tying up all kinds of loose ends, debts that need to get paid. And then there's the actual book writing, where this book that I've been kind of putting on the back burner as I built up my coaching and my coaching practice, it's now being finished. Like I don't know, 6-7x now my writing progress. I have no idea. Typically when I was especially busy these last couple months in the summer, I was writing maybe between 5,000 and 6,000 words a month, which translates to about 2,000 words a week or so, or 1,500 words a week. This week alone, I decided what my context was going to be on Sunday, which I believe was actually September 1st. And from September 1st until now, I've written something like 13,000 words. It's been like 2,000 words roughly a day, when usually I would be writing half that a month. So I've done that in a week because that's what I decided. And so I just trust and I channel the perfect things, and I'm in love with this manuscript. And this is what I want to bring into Long Story Short. I want to bring this knowledge, this awareness, but also the way I view things and the perspectives and the shifts that I've had. I've been taking a lot of voice notes as well. I want to bring all of this to you into the program. Why it's possible for me to do this in a snap decision. What made that possible? What's continuing to make that possible? And what I'm going to do with the manuscript once it's done, because you're going to get all the tea there. I'm also planning the next thing I'll be working on, because I plan to have this manuscript wrapped pretty much by the end of this. So when we start, long story short, the book should already be wrapped, if not close to wrapped, depending on how much more words it takes to get done. So right now, the goals that I've been setting is based on an 85,000 finished word count. It may go longer. I don't know. This might be a big book. I don't know yet. I'm kind of just going at this point. So once it's wrapped, and I write really clean drafts, they just need to get tweaked and fixed and stuff like this by this point. But once I'm wrapped by the end of this month, by the time we're in Long Story Short, the idea is I'll be planning a serial as well. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how I plan my stories as well. There's a whole live module dedicated to that. I haven't even revealed that anywhere else, but you are getting that information here first, folks. So we're going to talk about how I plan my stories, and you're going to see exactly how I do it. And it's not anything like, I promise you, it's not like anything you've seen. And the reason I want to show it to you, one, is so you can see it can be as messy as you want it to. It can be as brain dumpy as you want it to. And I can show you exactly how, when I'm moving through energy and I'm creating in kind of this feminine flow, how this happens and how this works for me in a way that doesn't pressure me. So let's see, do we get you one-to-one at some point, or are we doing group coaching? So actually, this is not like a boot camp. So it's not going to be one-to-one hot seat sort of thing where you jump on live with me. Not going to be that. I am thinking, though, of creating an offer on the back end of the program. So once the back end is over, I'm thinking of offering 2 coaching sessions with me at a lower price than what I typically charge in my practice. So I'm debating. We're going to see how that plays out. I want to finish rebuilding the program, because typically a session with me is $333 for 75 minutes, and then it goes upwards of hundreds and into the thousands depending on how many sessions you do. So, and currently, because I have 3 private clients at the moment, long-term private clients, I do have some space to have a little bit more, not a ton of space, but a little bit of space to take on a few more people. That being said, I might do something where you can do like 2 sessions with me for the price of 1 or something like that. I haven't decided yet, but that'll be in the back end of the program, but it will not be one-to-one coaching. It's very much a group coaching vibe, which is actually perfect in a program, because what happens is people ask things that you don't anticipate asking. People ask things that you're like, oh, that's such a good way of wording it. I never would have thought of that. And what happens is I riff off of that, and you get the answer, and you download the answer, and you bring that into your own awareness and the way you do life. And it works out perfectly anyway. So it's very much a group coaching vibe. Hashtag goals. Just behind a few days, Sunday was the 6th. Yes, okay. So that's about when I decided I wanted to dive in, because I believe, yeah, that makes sense, because the first week of September was Market Your Magic. So I remember, like, once Market Your Magic was done, I sat down to plan out the rest of the month, and then literally the 6th, I was like, okay, now we're doing it. And then we just go. Like, that's how much I believe my own word. That's how sure I am of myself and who I am and what I believe and what I get to do and what I get to have. And I just keep practicing it over and over again, because being the human inside me, like inside me is the essence of who I am and the soul that I have. But as the human, we tend to get in our own heads a lot, and things come up, and situations and people and all these random thoughts. So the job of me being the human version of Amara, is to sit there and to constantly reframe reframe until I know what it is I actually want to operate under, like what I know to be true always and above everything, always and forever, sort of thing. Whew, she's got tea. I do have tea. I do have all the tea. Need a drink of water. So, I believe that's everything you need to know about the program. We are kicking off. Doors are opening October 2nd, 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on time. 3:33 Eastern Standard Time. When you sign up, when you enroll, you will be pending until we approve everyone in the group on the same day at the same time. This means that the engagement is really high. People get right into the welcome call, and we just get going right from there. So you will get to go in literally when the doors open, October 2nd, Friday, October 2nd, 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We start with a welcome call, and then we're gonna have a pre-work. We're gonna have 2 days of pre-work for the weekend, and it's gonna be really vibey stuff. It's actually the pre-work that I created in the original course that I'm still obsessed with. I listened to it 2, 3, 4 days ago, and I was so inspired. I was like, this is amazing. It's actually going to be split up into 2 days. And then we've got another bit of pre-work on Monday, and then we kick off with our first live call. I actually think I'm going to move it to Wednesday. I said Tuesday on Instagram, but I want to factor in giving you guys days off each week. So I think Tuesdays are going to be our days off, and then Wednesday we go right into the live module. Then you get the recorded pieces, then we go into the next live module, recorded pieces, live module, etc., etc. There will be homework for each piece, and it's not super overwhelming stuff. It's stuff that's going to actually make you think or journal things out or try things out, challenge you, put you in a different perspective throughout the day or after you listen, but in a way that feels good. The way I like to receive homework, because again, I don't know how much you know about human design, but I'm a projector, and what I've learned about projectors thus far is that we have a limited amount of time where our energy is like super high and we can focus on a lot of things, which is why you'll see constantly on my Instagram stories me talking about the fact that my work days are fairly short. Like I try not to work past 6 hours a day. That means within the 6 hours in the day, I've got a lot of stuff to get done, or however many things I actually want to put on my plate. So that means I usually have 2-hour writing sessions if I can help it. I get on live quite a few times, especially because I'm doing a 365-day celebration challenge, so I'm going live everywhere. And then whatever other little things I need to get done, and then from there, that's sort of my day. So because of that, though, I'm also in programs. I'm also being coached, and there's also homework that I have, and I like to have homework that makes me like think and feel things out, declare things about myself and what I want about my life, want from my life, from my creativity, stuff that gets me in a high vibe, particularly if I want to go through the rest of my day not feeling like I'm drained, like a husk, an empty husk, you know. That's not the vibe. So what I can promise you is when you decide what it is you want from this program, you will have it, so long as you trust yourself and you trust me to help you get it. Okay, that's the first thing. The second piece of this is when you decide to enroll and when you're in this program, the things that I show you, the things that I share with you, what I teach you is going to make you feel larger than life. It's going to make you feel good. I promise you the things that I say are not going to disempower you. I promise you the things that I teach you and the things that I offer you and what I tell you about how you can do things or what I suggest to you, it's stuff that you can handle. Everything I put out there, you can handle. Because to tell you the truth, I am not the smartest person in the room. Like I talked about this in the Instagram live version of this. I am not the smartest person in the room. Average student, college dropout. I mean, anytime a family member drops a joke, because I have like the wittiest, sharpest tacts in the human, in all of existence, in this entire planet. I have the most sarcastic, wittiest, cleverest people, and I don't get half their jokes half the time, especially when they're at my expense. I'm not super quick-witted. I am not super smart. I don't have all the answers. I don't have a degree. I'm not perfect by any stretch. I burn your food if I try to cook it. I don't wash my clothes with softener because I think it makes the clothes weird. I mean, there's all these little quirks and little random weird things about me. Things in ways in which that in other people's eyes, I wouldn't measure up. But if the rules said, like that society said, that your family has said, that friends of yours have said were true, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now. I wouldn't be making the money that I make now. I wouldn't be able to create in the output, the level of output, effortless output that I have now. None of the things I do, nothing I've created for this brand and who I am and what I represent and the standards that I've set, none of it would be possible if those rules were the fact, the be all end all of life. So one of the things we're going to do in the program is I'm going to have you set fire to that rule book and help you create your own. Because rules are really just standards. And when we can get conscious about the standards we set, then suddenly we move faster through the things that we actually want to do. I want to help you collapse time around how you publish, how you write, how you sell. That's the vibe, that's the goal, that's what I'm going in with, that's my decision, my intention when I step into this program. That's what I want you to receive, however it comes down to you, however that feels to you. That's also Writers Wednesday, just so you know. Yes. Oh, good point. Touche. So we might actually do Tuesday and Wednesday off. I gotta figure this out. Honestly, no. Actually, Writers Wednesday is fine because Tuesday and Thursdays I do my coaching calls typically. And my client that I'm gonna be coaching with, one of my clients, we've been banking sessions because she's really in the writing zone right now. So we're probably going to double up for a couple weeks, and those are going to be really intense weeks. So I'm thinking that honestly Wednesday will work fine because Writers Wednesday is just an hour long. So, yeah, that feels good. So it'll be fine. But thank you, Katie. Thank you for bringing that up because it made me think about it. I can't wait. I know. I can't wait either. That is a relief for me. I cannot handle a lot of work outside my day job, and yet I'm determined to make a writing career. Energy management is one of my biggest struggles. Yes. So this is the thing. We've got to pick the pieces that are actually going to feel good for you to pursue. If you're here, say hello. I would love to say hi to you because I see we have got another person watching. But this is the biggest piece. This is one of the pieces of the puzzle for all of this, is deciding what are the things that you most want to do that actually move the needle. But typically when people ask this question, they start to get in their heads about what actually moves the needle based on what experts say and what people typically say in the industry moves the needle. So when you talk to a marketing expert, you talk to a publishing expert, you talk to a writing expert, they tell you this, this, and this, and this works, and that's how you do it, and that's how it's got to be done if you want that. So you've got to make the big sacrifices. You've got to struggle a little bit more. You do have to grind and hustle a little bit more and feel like shit for a little while longer until you get into the groove of things and it actually works. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if it was always meant to be easy and not hard? What if you got to do things in a way that felt good and sustainable based on the standards that you set? So this is a lot of what we're going to talk about in the program too, because how do you determine that? Yay, Carrie, I see you creeping. I was like, I know, I see one of my muses. I felt it. I felt your presence. I was like, Carrie is here now. And now we have someone else coming in. Who else is here? Say hello. But that is the biggest issue, is when you ask the expert in these various industries, they tell you that this is how it's supposed to be done. And then when you hear it that way, you start locking that in and you start telling yourself, oh, that's how it should be done. So I do have to make all the sacrifices. I do have to grind until I'm dead and then hope that all of this somehow is going to pay off in this incredible way. No worries, Tracy. So we are about, actually, let's look at the timing of this. Yeah, we're almost wrapped, but it's okay because you can rewatch the beginning of the live, and you were with me on Instagram as well. But we do talk about different things in this one, which I love, because this is the beauty of not coming on with any kind of script, not coming on with any intention to bullshit, right, Jessica? So that's kind of what I'm saying as well. It's like these people... Yeah, and all the goods will be saved. Exactly. It'll be right up on the page for you. So these people who tell you it should be done this way, and you've got to grustle and grustle and grind, not hind. What? Grustle and hustle and grind until you're weary to the bone. Those people who make those claims, it's really hard to refute them because they have all of this evidence that says it works. They have all these people that back them. They have, these incredible results that they themselves can stand on. But what happens is when we believe what works, that's the thing that works. So what we believe ends up being true always. So what I'm going to ask you in this program is, what do you believe now currently? Do you want to continue believing that that's how it works and that's what gets to be true in your life? Or do you want to believe something else? And if you're in the program, very likely you want to believe in something else. So now my next question, the follow-up would be, and this is great for both of you because Katie, Jessica, you're already in the program. Carrie, you're in the program. what would be great for you to ruminate on even before we jump in is to ask yourself, okay, what do you want? What do you want to believe to be true? So if this way that doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel exciting, that makes you feel disempowered in your life doesn't feel like the vibe, and you decide, no, that's not actually how I want to feel about this, what do you choose to believe instead? And we're going to talk about options, and we're going to talk about what this means and what that looks like, for sure, throughout the program. And like I said, there's a Q&A call in the program as well, built in and ready to go. And whatever questions that get missed for whatever reason, we'll go into the celebration call and we'll answer questions there. Because my desire is always at the end of the program, when I do a Q&A call and then the celebration call, is to make sure that you're all tied up, all the loose ends are tied up, you feel really amazing, you feel like you can take on the world after, after the program is wrapped. So what I'm interested in teaching you, what I'm interested in guiding you through is not the step-by-step blueprints that you can find in any other course that, again, like I said, Jessica, you're in Publish and Thrive. Tracy, you're in Publish and Thrive. Great course. It's an informational manual, though. But who are you? Who's the person that's picking up the manual? Are you hand-selecting, cherry-picking the things that feel good to you to apply, or are you just running with it as though that's how it must be? I've got to do it this way. Because I can tell you, I've not completed the entire course. I've gone through specific parts that relate to me or things that I was curious about and wanted to know, because that's how I make investments now also. When I invest in a program, when I do something for myself, even in the coaching that I'm involved in right now, the coaching that I get personally, what I invest in is not to constantly have breakthroughs necessarily around information. What I'm really invested in and what I want to know and what I want to do always is to plug into people's energy. I really want to plug into how they specifically do the thing. And a great example of this, actually, last night or the night before, I believe, yes, I was learning about, I heard someone say, someone I really admire, a coach, a mentor of mine, not really a coach, but a mentor of mine I really admire, was in one of her containers, and she mentioned humanistic psychology. And me, I'm the type that I hear something and I get really fascinated by it and I want to learn as much as I can about it. So whether that's a Wikipedia spiral and then I go on Amazon and start buying books, or however that manifests for me, however that looks, I just go ahead and run with it. So for some reason she said humanistic psychology and I went, I want to know more. So I ran to Amazon and I started looking up. I literally punched in humanistic psychology. And what came up was all these different textbooks where I guess it's taught in college, in different colleges for different programs. Professors writing these large texts that cost hundreds of dollars that I assume, again, would be used in workshops or in college space, right? University, if you're not from around here. And I immediately went, ugh, no, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want. I want to find someone who embodies humanistic psychology to walk me through the energy around what they've pulled from humanistic psychology. So what that would mean is finding someone who views humanistic psychology in a way that I would like to view it, in a way that I would actually like to get the information. I would want to learn from someone who's really put these things into practice and can show me how this would work in a way that saves me time. Because I could sit there and go through these manuals, I could go through these textbooks trying to learn humanistic psychology from scratch, and that would be a really great way to do it. And then I could sit there and make, observations, I could take notes, I could figure out what I most want to learn, pull pieces, and then maybe integrate that into my world and how I teach and how I show up, sure. But would that take a lot of time? Yes. And as I explained to you, because I'm a human design nerd, I'm a projector, I have very few amount of hours in the day where I don't feel drained. So for me, my workday typically ranges between 4 to at most 7 hours. Typically it's like 4 to 6 hours. Average is like 5 to 6 hours a day. That's all I work all day long. So 24 hours in the day, that's how much I'm technically working. Do you think I want to spend those free hours trying to dig through these textbooks to figure out what humanistic psychology is? No. And as I explained in this live, I am not the smartest person in the room. So also what happens is I might get tripped up by language that disempowers me. Things that I have to go look up and not understand, and then I get in my head and I'm like, oh God, I don't get humanistic psychology. I'm never going to be good at humanistic psychology. Why did I ever think this would be a good idea to look into this? So we can apply this same story to exactly what happens with writing. You get in your head, you buy all the craft books, you buy the courses that feel like manuals that do show you really powerful things, that give you the how on certain things that you don't know or don't understand. But when we're talking about a program and a live experience like this, what happens is we really got to dig into who you are when you do these things. We've got to talk about who you want to be, what you most want to embody. We've got to talk about what you want to plug into when you're with me. What do you want to channel on a day-to-day basis? And when I say channel, what do you want to flow through you typically on a day-to-day basis? Literally, the words have just been flowing for me. I can guarantee you when I get to the publishing phase, it's just going to flow for me. The things that I'm going to say to the people involved in helping me make this happen, the team I'm amassing. When it comes to, selling, same thing. What do I want to say? I have no script for this live. I had no idea. Yesterday, I had some notes. And even then, I worked off of the notes and then ran away from the notes and just kept going. Because I trust what I'm saying as I'm saying. I know myself so well. I have such an authority, a power over myself and in my own life that I can trust me saying the words on the page, me saying the words to the people, and know that it's all authentic, it's all good. I'm supported, I'm fine, everything's safe, I'm okay. And so is the other person, and then they get everything they need to know. They get everything they need from me, and then they get to make a decision from that place. So I'm not begging you for any sales. I'm not telling you a million times buy my book in the same way I'm not telling you a million times buy my program. What I believe is we've got to stand in leadership 100%, authentic leadership from a place of integrity. So if I ever came on here and was like, you've got to buy my programs, that would feel out of integrity for me, because what I tell people all day long, what I walk my clients through all day long, private or in programs, is never to do something like that. Never to make decisions and say things from a place of fear, shame, guilt, and doubt, desperation, and lack. So if I went and did that, it would make me inauthentic. It would crumble my brand from the inside out. So what do you believe down to your core? Who do you want to show up as? What do you most want to say with your work? What transformations do you want to take ownership of? Because I know when people read this book right now, like I've been crying, I've been going through the gamut of emotions. I've been getting really intimate with this storytelling because I want to say something powerful. I want to send a message through this book, not in a way that's like teachy preachy, but in a way that means something to me, that comes from my heart. So I want you to feel like you know my heart when you read this book, even if you never get to know me. I want you to feel these characters as pieces, not just of me, but pieces maybe that reflect pieces of you. And because I know that so much, I feel that so deeply in my soul, I feel good, I feel okay about releasing it into the world. There's no hesitation, there's no pushback there. I feel okay with the fact that it's never going to be technically perfect or technically correct. I might get some things wrong. People may not like it. I'm okay with rejection or the possibility of rejection because I know ultimately who this book is for. I know ultimately it's never about being perfect. And if I told myself it was about being perfect after telling people all day long in my world that it's not about being perfect, once again, I'm out of integrity. So my goal and the job of me being in this role and in this brand is to show you that it's not ever about being perfect. It can't be, because when we get in our heads about it being perfect, we will never be satisfied by where we've gone and how far we've come. We won't. So if I looked back, for example, at the novellas I released, Heirs of Fate and Beyond the Beast, which was our short story collection where I have a short story involved in that as well, that we edited ourselves as well. Like me and my sister, we took on our developmental editor hats, and we used our publishing company as the platform, and we put it out there in the world, and it was beautiful, and it sold really well, and it's still amazing, and people still love it. If I got in my head at all, from back then all the way till now, telling myself that these works were not perfect, that they weren't good, that they weren't said in the perfect way, that the writing could be better, I would never have put anything out. And then I never would have known what it would feel like to have the book out in the first place. I never would have known what it would be like to be a published author. I would still be sitting here at 26 years old with nothing behind me, nothing to stand on, and no strong, clear vision going forward. I have a desire to take over the world with the stories that I tell, whether it's through my writing, whether it's through my coaching, public speaking, motivational speaking, through live streaming as a personality, whatever it is I decide to do, through collaborating with a brand. One day I want to have a talk show host. I want to be a talk show host. I mean, there's so many things that I want to do, and storytelling in this way with these books just happens to be one medium, but I've always desired it. I've always wanted to be a published author. So when I honor that desire, it just gets to be, it just is. It's just out there. I just let it be. I give it space to succeed. If that's the desire, I don't try to get in my head and overcomplicate it and wonder if it's all working out. It is all working out because the desire was there for some reason in the first place. No matter what you believe spiritually, it doesn't matter. We are here for some reason. The desire came up somehow. Are you going to honor it, or are you going to walk away from it? But the thing is, if you walk away from it, what's going to happen in the long run when you're on your deathbed wondering why you didn't do the thing? Why you didn't do what you said you were going to do, or what you most wanted to do? Why, when you look back on your life, it's all a blur? We talk a lot about this again in effortless follow through. I have no interest in looking at my life as though it's blurring past me and I can't hold on to a specific moment. I can't pick something out and hold it close and be like, that was my life. Holy shit, that was my life. I want to be able to say what my life was about. I want to be able to tell real stories about what I did with my life. So at this point in time, I can say that I'm 26 years old and I own a publishing company, a short fiction publishing company. I've put out 5 releases so far. I'm working on my 6th. A 7th is being planned to come out before the end of this year. And on and on and on it goes. So these are all things that I'm going to remember. What I really want to ground for you in the program as well, how to actually feel your way through all of this. Because what happens is, when you get in your heads and you start stressing about, stressing from publication to publication, you forget everything you went through to get the book out there. So you forget release day. You remember the shit. You remember all of the shit. You remember how bad you felt. You remember how hard it was. You remember all of that. But when release day actually happens, and then a year later, you can't tell me what happened during release. What led up to it? What is the story? This is why I think, honestly, truly, why so many authors get in their heads as well about what is their book about, or what do they typically write? Who do they stand, what do they stand for as an author? What would be the best readers to buy from them? I think the reason that authors can't answer that is because they haven't been paying attention to the journey to publication, because the journey to publication holds all the answers. The journey to publication is exactly why people would pick up your book. Because it's exactly the reason why you wrote the book in the first place. But without context, without being clear, without knowing and anchoring what's so important and what's so magical each step of the journey, without deciding that it all gets to be easy and effortless, regardless of what other people say, how it should go, when that decision doesn't come, when you don't honor your desires, when you let life pass you by and you let this publication thing be a monstrous thing hiding or lurking, lingering in the shadows, ready to pounce on your mental health, on your constitution, whatever it is you feel, however you feel typically when you try to write, when that's the story, of course it's a miserable trudge. Of course it's really hard to sell. Of course it's really impossible for people to connect to your story from before it's even in their hands, because you didn't connect to the story of it becoming a story. So I want to teach you about connection. I want to teach you about power. I want to teach you about integrity. I want to teach you about self-love. I want to teach you about self-trust through the lens of writing, publishing, and selling. Doing it in such a way that it feels effortless and grounded. Doing it in such a way where you feel 100% fully seen, supported, and appreciated. And what's beautiful and magical about this program is it's already attracting the most amazing people. You want to talk about how this could be a solitary journey? I've always called bullshit on that, but we're going to especially call bullshit on this now. Creatives, creators, writers love to say this. It's really hard to find your people. When you invest in programs like this, you find your people. When you invest in programs at this level, right? Because we're talking about transformation and integration, not just information, which is why the price point is what it is, right? That's really what it comes down to. The amount of energy work also factors in, but especially the kinds of the level of human I want to attract into this container. This means you're getting the best of the best connections. You're getting the best of the best people to become close to interact with, to cheer on, to get you outside of your head even more. And the energy that we all create collectively is going to factor into the kinds of results you will see. Same, I cherry pick. Even my outlining method is a mix of different methods. Yes, I want to believe I will be published next year. Also, I'm in love with your necklace. Thank you. It's from Luna Lifted. I love that company. 100%. And there's no reason why you can't. One of the testimonials that just came up the other day, the I is so boss. Thank you. I love it. I actually don't know if this one is still available. I know this one is, and I know these are on Luna Lifted. But check it out. They're amazing. One of the testimonials that we got, actually, I think it's this morning. It's from Alira. She talks about that. Like, she had no idea that she was going to become a published author this year. And so effortlessly and beautifully, because she's releasing these incredible art pieces that relate to her writing right now. Like, publication set up, the book is practically done. There's no going back. So she was like, I had no idea that when I took this like random course in July or June, because this started out as a course, and now it's a skeleton of what this program is actually going to be. When I started this in June, I had no idea I was going to be a published author by November. Like, that just I didn't realize that was going to happen. And so it was never for me to be like, yeah, you're going to be a published author by November. Don't you worry. But she decided. I kind of already knew, you know what I mean? I felt the vibe even when she came into the space from the first day. You know who's going to actually follow through when they show up every single day for the live modules, when they show up and do the work and ask the questions and get really vulnerable and interact with other people. You know. But I think those people, and the people who are in this program right now, who are writing the testimonials, and those who are coming in brand new, it starts with a decision of what it is they're going to get out of the program, who they're going to be by the end, deciding what the result is going to be, and then you just trust that you're going to get it and that I'm going to give it to you, and it works. The course was actually created originally around the idea that you could write, publish, and sell in 90 days, and that's absolutely 100% true. Every publication I've put out up until this point, I've done it in 90 days. And I guarantee you that the stuff that's happening now, you're again going to see, it'll come in like a 90-day whirlwind. I have a couple publications. So there's a paperback version of something that we have out right now that I really want to put out before the year is done. So we're planning a big thing around that. Then there's a nonfiction book I've been working on for a while that I kind of feel like I want to put out by December, but I still have to see. And then the book that I'm finishing and wrapping by the time we start the program, it's going into a special slot for something else. And again, I'll talk about that in the program. So we're going to talk about all these different ways you can publish, all these different ways you can monetize. So what happens is this program is really heavy on energetics. We talked about that, right? The energy, inspired action, plus, the mindset and the emotional intelligence. But I do give you suggestions for what inspired action you can take, because we're all goddamn inspired inside the program. So I'll tell you some of the things that worked. I will share some of the practical strategies. You will be able to workshop your specific situation with me inside the program. I'm going to give you leeway and room to ask me things, and I will sit there and go through with you how you can spin it in such a way that feels good. Why not? Especially during the Q&A call. So you are going to be supported from all different angles. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust me? That is what this comes down to. Do you trust yourself to make an investment in yourself? Can you view this not as an investment into me? Because the money is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But again, I'm creating this, I'm doing this work because I want to. If I wanted money, I can go out and get it in all kinds of ways. I get to receive it in all kinds of ways. This is how I'm choosing to earn it right now, yes, but am I dependent on you for it? No, because the perfect people are coming into this container regardless of whether or not you give me your money. So that can't be the reason. What has to be the reason is, do you trust yourself, and can you decide for yourself what this program is going to be for you? That's what this comes down to. Can we just talk about how vibey this live is? This is total riffing. Holy shit. I remember she was in LSS being so bummed about not being able to get the cover artist she wanted. She got another while we were in the course, and she was so hyped about it. Yes, I remember that happening so clearly. She was just like, I should have started sooner. I should have started sooner. I should have started sooner. And one of the things we talk about all the time is the should have, the should have, the should have. And so we reframed that right there in the course, and she was like, actually, this gets to work for me. Actually, this is working out perfectly. And then I remember in the celebration thread, I think she posted something about the cover designer that she ended up with, and then she ended up getting this artist involved, and I mean, she's just like, and that's the thing, one of my other favorite like stories ever is Bree. Bree came into the original course having done like a soul-sucking MFA, right? So she had a master's in creative writing, set aside like what her manuscript was eventually going to be. She then got really in her head about what writing had to look like from that point on, set aside her thesis, did all the things. So she has a master's, she set aside all the things, nearly gave up on storytelling, came into this course, hadn't touched her manuscript in like 7 months, through this course, finished the manuscript, decided to release it as a serial, and is now working on episodic fiction that she's releasing starting in October, with gorgeous covers, gorgeous graphic design. She got a whole website reboot. Everything's become clear because her brand is now becoming very structured for her. It's all become clear. That's what I offer you in this program. Above and beyond anything else, yes, we get really, really, well, actually, no, this is perfect. Above and beyond with this program and any program I run, any course bundle thing, this is always going to be the vibe. If we can get clarity around how you think about things and what you feel, and then produce actions from there, and then what you produce from those actions create really powerful results. That's just how it works. It's that simple. I don't have much of a clue about how to write copy for my books, marketing, and listings. Do we go over that? Copy is hard. I can't figure that out either. And it's so good that the FB is not because we hit an hour. Yes. She hadn't written in months and now she's publishing next month. Breeze and inspiration. Yes, Carrie. So with copy, are you talking about the back cover? Because there are going to be, I do give you resources. There's a specific book that had changed everything for me when I was first starting out and helped me get really good at copy. And I always reference whenever I'm going to go back and look at copy, particularly if you're talking about the back cover copy, the jacket copy. If you read that book, it'll be amazing. That's a resource. And then I give you something else and we talk about something else in there. I mean, I got you covered. And then also, if you have questions about it, ask me. Just ask me. What'll be great about it too is that in this container, you will be able to ask some feedback. Ask for some feedback. So if you do things throughout the program and you start trying things and you want people's feedback, put it in the group. Why not? And what's so great about being in this live container is, like I said at the beginning of the live, living, breathing, pulsing container with my energy in it. I'm with you in it every single day, regardless if a recorded piece is dropping or not, regardless if a live module is happening or not. So if you want to workshop something that you create as a result of being in the program, post it in the program, we'll all give you feedback. Again, you're with high-class human beings. Okay? You're with high-class human beings, the best of the best human beings, the most quality human beings who trust themselves so much and trust you going through the program alongside them, trust the power of the container itself. So yes, of course, put it in there. We'll go through it. Why not? I don't see any harm in that. Back cover and text for the store listings. Not sure about the right terms. Awesome. Thank you, Mara. I'm in good hands. This is happening. You are in good hands, 100%. And so this is the thing. The more clarity you have, the more things like what you're mentioning gets to be easier. Because what happens is, yes, I read this book that was a really great resource, and I would tell you right now, but I cannot remember what the name is, like the full name or the author 100%, kind of vaguely. So it's in one of the resource things that we're putting in there in the resource that I'll have for you. But things like that, like, yes, I read the book, but what made the back cover copy so good was what I channeled because of the book. Again, it's not just the information that got me through. It was the practicing, the integration, the believing that it was always going to work out perfectly anyway. Nobody was going to be mad at me, and everything was always going to work out just right, regardless of how much money I spent or if no one bought it. It was always going to work out. Do you see how the energy of what I'm saying is building? And then these incredible summaries happened. I didn't really sit there and check it against what he talked about in the book, but it is a good reference point. It is a good starting point. I just want to make sure that when we're in the program, we go beyond that. And you do get to go beyond that. You do get to look at information and go, this is how I think about it. This is how I feel about it. This is what I actually want to pull from it. This is who I want to become because of it. And through all of these decisions, I claim personal power in this moment. I get really clear on what I want. And then it just gets to go from there. Like, it flows from there. It gets to be easy from there. So you get I'm hoping that throughout this live and the last live, you're seeing how my brain works. There is literally nothing you could throw at me, not one thing you could throw at me, truly. Not one scenario, not one situation, not one thing you could say to me that I either won't have the answer for you, where I channel it, or I've done it and I experienced it and I still like bring it forward for you, or I don't find the answer for you and then give you a better way of looking at it. So we cover all the bases inside this program. Lovely humans, I must leave you all. It's time for dinner. I'll see you in the group. Yay! Thank you again for your testimonial. I'm also so happy to have found you as a fellow Puerto Rican. It's empowering. You know, that was some of the coolest things I learned about you as well, because that's the other thing. We're going to talk about race and oppression for a second. It's really hard sometimes to find other Hispanics doing these incredible things in such a big way on their own, independently, as a brand and a business on their own. It's really hard. So if I can help you set a new standard for yourself based on what I'm accomplishing, what I'm doing, oh my God, yes, please, let's get more Latinas in the house, please. And that's ultimately, I think we can wrap the live here with this. This is what I feel about success. This is why I'm a success coach. This is why I love coaching. This is why I love doing what I do. Success for me is amazing alone. Yes, it feels great when you have it, when you feel it. But the best part of success is when we can all make the climb to the top of the mountain together. My coach says this, and I love this. She says that, you know, through life and all the things that we do, everything is it's a mountain of evolution and growth with no peak. Meaning that as you keep climbing, there's really no stopping point. There's really no failing. There's really no just ending. It just keeps going and evolving. But the thing is, it's always forward motion. We're always climbing higher and higher. We're never dropping down. So there's always what seems to be another peak, but actually isn't the end. And we keep going and we keep going and we keep going. And the best part of success altogether is when we can all climb that mountain of evolution and growth with no peak together. I rise, you rise, we all rise. When we're all called to rise and we all do something greater than what was expected or what is ordinary or what is just whatever for other people. We do the thing that feels good and amazing to us, that feels powerful, that feels like we're rewriting our own legacy and creating something that's going to stand the test of time. When we can live life like that, and we lead from that place, meaning we make decisions in our life, not because other people told us something or make us feel weird or awkward or unsure about something, but we truly make decisions from a place of personal power. As we climb that mountain, we inspire others to make the climb with us. And when we inspire others to make the climb with us, it means that everybody in this world is elevating. Everyone is elevating. That's what's so powerful about it. This is why I can't get enough of this work. This is why I can't get enough of doing what I do and creating what I create and being among the people that I am among, or amongst. And so we're going to end here on that note. Thank you for hanging out with me for, let's see, an hour and 9 minutes. That's actually pretty amazing. So I'm going to leave this live up here for you. And what I would absolutely love is if you would share this to your personal page, or if you want to screenshot something and put it on the Instagrams and tag me, that would be amazing. I would appreciate that ever so much. Wonderheart Books' vision is perfect for me precisely for this. Anyway, looking forward to spending more time with you all. It's been a pleasure. Such a pleasure. I love you all ever so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your testimonials, for those that have shared testimonials, those who've been sharing about the program. Thank you for sharing about the program. I see you. I appreciate you. I am so grateful for all my muses. And the reason I call you my muses, if you don't know this, is because everyone, I believe, has the capability of inspiring me to a greater sense of awareness about something, whether it's myself or the world or a story, whatever it is. And so through that, when I look at life like that, when I look at people like that, no one's ever a waste of time to me. No one ever is inconsequential to me. Everyone matters, because in the end, we all matter. We're all one. Does that make sense? So I'll leave you there. I love you. Thank you for spending your Friday night with me, right? We're on Friday. Sometimes I lose track of time. Yes, your Friday evening with me. Hope that you have great dinner or whatever it is that you're doing in whatever time zone you're in, but enjoy yourself, enjoy your weekend, and we'll be hearing more about Long Story Short. If you know someone that needs to be in this program, let them know that pre-sale pricing ends tonight. So don't miss it.